Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and today we are at our brand new studio. We call our podcast Drive Through because we like to drive through a lot. But it's episode 1, and today we're going to be chatting about car show judging, what makes a car show, basically anything and everything under the sun when it comes to these aftermarket car shows. And we have here, one of our writers, one of our editors, Francis Pallarco. Francis, welcome.
Hey.
I know you're nervous about this. Francis is not like the guy who's not really used to the camera too much. It took me a while, but Francis, you know what? Why don't you introduce yourselves to everyone viewing and what it is you do, how we know each other, all that stuff.
All right. Hi, everyone. Francis Pallarco here from AutoIndustriya. I am the features editor here, and I have been in the motoring industry for quite some time. I've known Vince since we were together in our previous publication.
You can say it.
Way
It's
back.
okay.
So from there, while Vince was more into the new cars, I was concentrating more on the aftermarket and modified cars and anything that's not stock. So basically, my training revolves around car modification and the aftermarket industry.
Okay, well, that's actually great because Francis, I know you were our guru for anything anything aftermarket. Di mo akalain, no? Si Francis talaga yung really, really geeking out when it comes to modifications. Ako naman, I tend to geek out about, supercars, sports cars, Evos. Francis was more on like tuned cars and all that stuff. Now you've been a motoring journalist. Yes, we were together in our previous publication, which is C Magazine. And you know what? We each carved a space for ourselves and what we what we used to do, diba? Now you tell us, how did you get into cars? I mean, I have my story, but I'd like to hear yours.
Well, like most car enthusiasts and those into cars, my journey with cars started when we were kids. When I was a kid, with the toys that my parents gave
No
me.
age, no mentioning
No
of age.
mention of
ano?
age, but it started from there with the usual Hot Wheels and Matchboxes.
Okay.
From there, it evolved into Tonkas and Nylon, bigger ones, the metal toys.
Yeah.
Back then, it was still metal before then. And then gradually developed into scale model building, which I'm still doing if time permits.
What was the last one you made?
About a year ago, I think.
What model was it?
Actually, what I try to do sometimes is I try to keep my old kits intact and just try to redo the ones that I did before.
Okay. Unglue and ano?
Yeah, some get destroyed, but I find it hard to start a new one because it's not hard. It's kind of difficult these days to buy these old vintage kits anymore. So I'm just trying to look at the box art na lang instead of building it. But I'm still doing it naman.
I mean, ako rin naman, that's how I started. I started with matchboxes. Yeah, it was more of matchboxes. Like back in the day, for those who grew up in the States, chances are it was most likely Hot Wheels.
Yes.
Especially with the big tracks. And for us, it was mostly Matchbox. For the ones who are kind of like growing up now, it's more of Tomica? Tomica, yeah.
Japanese, for Japanese. If you're into Japanese
You're the
cars.
Japanese cars. Yeah, it's really Tomica. So it depends on what you like. And also,
Yeah.
I also went through the scale modeling phase. I was never good at it. Yung patience of... I would always use super glue
Yeah.
instead of the...
Thin cement.
Yeah, the thin cement. Yeah, I've had the patience. What kid has patience? Yeah. And then, of course, into RC cars and all that stuff. Okay, anyway, so we have that. So what was the most memorable car that you grew up with? Like, do you think? Like, what you guys had?
From scale models, we progressed. Well, it progressed when my brother and I had a 76 Corolla SR. This was really the turning point for us because back then you could only do so much.
Yeah.
So that means you had to improvise on some of the stuff. It was there when we started experimenting with modification as to how not only just to maintain the car, but also how to make it faster.
Corolla SR, that would be the coupe.
Yeah, it was also the first car we did an engine swap back then.
Was that
So it originally came with a 3 kb engine,
then you went
dual
to
dual carbs. From there,
Okay.
we swapped it for an 1800 3TC. Back then, we had a choice whether to get the more popular 2TG twin cam or go for the SOC
Yeah.
3TC.
The mention of those cars for those who aren't familiar, this was like when when Francis said it's twin carbs and all that, like wow, twin side or twin
Yeah,
downdraft or
actually we
side.
went through that phase from
Okay.
downdraft carbs to single side to twin cams
Yeah.
to changing cams,
Okay.
exhaust, differential. We went through that phase.
I can't even remember the last time I drove.
But back
Carb.
then, things were simpler.
Yeah.
I mean, you could really surplus parts were abundant. So
Yeah, actually. I mean that's the great thing. Back then it was all mechanical.
yeah, no computer, no ECU
computers.
tuning.
The computer was you.
Yeah.
You like listening. Like there's no plug into an OBD port or you can't diagnose with that. You really just listen to it, you feel it, and then you road test it.
Yeah.
Up until like maybe the early 2000s, some of us were still doing that. Now, not so much. I'm sure you guys who are still like tuning in, tuning your carb powered cars, SRs, Lancer box types, Geminis. You let us know in the comments below what that experience is like. Now, Francis, you well, just to get it out of the way, Francis does a lot of car show judging. So we're talking about the major ones of Manila Auto Salon, and transport
That's
show,
for sure.
the truck show, the truck show with Auto Salon as well. I know one time you and I we judged, I think it was Subic Bay Auto Show.
Yeah, Subic Bay
Shout
Auto
out
Show.
to our
Yes.
friend Amir.
Yeah. Hi, Amir.
But one time we judged that. Ako init, we were outdoors,
Yeah,
pawis na pawis tayo lahat. But it was a unique experience. Like for me, it was my first time judging. First and only time. I don't think they'll ever ask you to go back again. But I remember like looking at that form. I was like, I don't know. How do I judge this? And then I see Francis like, oh yeah, check. He inspects and then check again, and then okay, and then he'll talk to the owner. But how did that get started for you?
Well, my first car show judging stint was way back in 2011 when I was invited by the Mazda Tech guys
Okay.
to judge their Mazda Tech Auto Show, which was held in Chinesitas, I think. And then from there, I got invited to the Rev Up UP car show, which was in Diliman for like 2 years. And then came Amir's Subic Auto Show, which ran for like 10 years. I started there but I wasn't there for the whole time. I started 2012 until its last show, which was in 2019. It ran for 10 years then, the Subic Bay Auto Show of Amir. So there. From there, it was in 2016 when I was invited to be a co-judge by Miss Sophie De Los Santos of Trade Show International.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sophie. For the Manila Auto Salon, which also led to my stint with the transport show as well, which is still ongoing up to today, which I am very grateful and honored to be part of that panel of judges that do the transport show, which is the longest running car show in the Philippines, and the Manila Auto Salon as well.
And of course, Francis is an honorable guy. He does not take any
No.
any kind of gifts, no campaign donations. But we'll send you his GCash number later. So the first show was Mazda Tech.
Mazda Tech.
Okay, so
Mazda.
let's say you've seen so many like show cars. I mean, what is a show car to you? What's your? I mean, there are many definitions. Yes, it's a car you bring to a car show. Meaning, and by car show, we're not talking about motor show like PIMS or Mias. Although Mias does have an aftermarket, but we're talking more about the tune shows, restoration, resto mods, all out, kitted out with all the expensive parts. But in your view, taking all that into account, what is a show car to you?
Well, a show car can be any vehicle per se, but it all boils down to the preparation and how the car was built. It could be built as a restored model, meaning stock everything, or it could be on all out where everything is custom. Regardless, it has to be well built and visually appealing. It also has to have that wow factor. It's something that when you see it really commands attention. Like we in the panel of judges, more or less in the first or second day, we already know that hey, that car really has something. That car is really well built. From the get-go, you could see na eh. Ito talaga iba. Talagang a lot of work was put in. And it shows. And it shows.
Give an example. Maybe or a few examples.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of... I'm sure you've seen those cars where they put the mirrors in the underneath and you see that every nut and bolt really stands out. It's really very, very, very clean. That's what we're looking for, the craftsmanship. Eh. It doesn't have to be a car where you put in a ton of aftermarket parts. It's about the presentation, how it was built. Eh.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you put in a lot of parts, it will translate to a show winner. It's not. Eh. It's how well it was built. Eh. So, and the wow factor really has to be there. It has to be visually appealing, not just for us judges, but even for fellow car enthusiasts as well.
Actually, you can see that wow factor when you walk around any of these these shows. If you see like people suddenly gathering around the car, and we're not just talking about, let's say, a barcada of friends, that who know the owner, but rather like random people like gravitating towards a certain model. You can see it. You can see it at the show if you observe long enough.
Yeah.
And that's always like special to see. Can you name, let's say, a couple memorable? Let's say, what's the most memorable in your many years of judging? What perhaps is the most memorable classic car? Like meaning, like we're talking like 70s, even 80s to you.
Well, there was one. There are a lot actually, but the one that holds dear for us, like for not just me but my fellow judges, is the older cars, because that's currently like disappearing from the car shows that we're having. I mean, I don't know if it's because of the lack of enthusiasm from the supposedly the next generation who will continue those things, but there was one time there was a 55 Thunderbird by Alex, which was also nice, and there was also one time a Cobra kit car which was well built, and then also the usual slew of Corollas.
Civics.
That's a given anyway. But it's nice to see those old Corollas and old Lancers being brought back to life. It's really something. Eh. Tapos you see it well built and complete with all the parts. That's something.
Do you like have a I don't know, a guidebook or reference guide as to like to check if it's period correct, or is it all just by eye?
But regarding guidelines, I mean, Sophie has her own guidelines for the transport show and the Manila Auto Salon. You can download it actually. But for us judges, it's more based on our experience and having lived through the time period. Not exactly the old time period, but maybe the 80s and 90s. So we get a feel for whenever something is off or doesn't match. Like maybe the wheels are too modern for the car.
Okay.
Or like, for example, there's this thing, let's say you take an old 55 Thunderbird.
Okay.
When you look at the engine, it should be period correct.
Okay.
So there are things sometimes which could make it kind of off. Like, for example, if you see modern plug wires, that's already a no-no.
Yeah.
Because you're presenting it a stock vehicle and they're using modern plug wires and modern ignition coils with a modern carburetor. I mean, that's a given because of the rarity of the parts. But as much as possible, the entry should,
all original, period correct. Theme correct.
Yes, theme correct.
Okay.
Because it's kind of off when you see a 55 Thunderbird with a modern air cleaner, for example, because that doesn't match really. Like,
it has to look the part. Like you can't just. It depends, I guess, on the judge. Maybe some like the execution of a little bit of modern here, but again, you're right. If it doesn't match, it just doesn't match. Now,
then again, there was this one time. There was this Civic Coupe from the 90s, which was period correct. I mean, this proves that it can be done. I mean, the Civic Coupe was period correct in the sense that the Recaro buckets they employed were period correct. It even had the phone from the 90s.
SR3 Recaro, that one?
Yeah, no, the older one, the Enjoy.
Enjoy, okay.
And then they had the phones from the 90s, period correct accessories from the 90s.
Mm.
They even had a NOS bottle from the 90s. So things like that, you could really do it. It's not impossible.
Is NOS more 90s or more early 2000s?
Well, NOS has been around since the 50s and 60s.
Wow.
So,
Huh, okay. Now, can a I think this is a good question. Can a daily driven car be a show car to you?
technically, yes. As long as that daily driven car is well built and very, very clean,
Uh-huh.
it could.
Okay.
Well, the only limiting factor would be like if it has the daily battle scars. Well,
Yeah.
that's a limiting factor. But if a daily driven car is well kept and well maintained, it could. I mean, like, for example, your daily driver is an all original, let's say 90s Corolla that's really well built and meticulously taken care of. It could.
It really matters like what the attention to detail is like.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Like, do you see like this is gonna be a weird question, because some people think that a car show is like a pageant for cars. But the difference is in a pageant, like let's say you can talk to the contestant. Right? In this one, do you find that you end up talking more to the owners as well? I mean, of course, cars can't talk, right? But do you factor in, let's say, talking into the owner, the process, all these things?
Yeah, we do. Actually, we do. Like one of the major contenders, as always, in most auto salon, like Keith Bryan now, he always gives us a walkthrough of what he did to the car and what the mods are to give us an idea on what he did to that particular vehicle. Not just to KBH, but to other entries as well.
Okay.
And if you see something wrong, we give constructive criticism. For example, so like there are some entries that like have this stuff in the car.
Like, what do you mean?
For like memorabilia and stuff,
Okay.
brochures. We tell them to take that out because it doesn't count.
Okay.
So things like that. We also do constructive criticism on the owner.
Yeah.
For example, like we give even suggestions like, why don't you put more lights so that the color will be enhanced, or put mirrors underneath or something. We do that. So we always talk to the owner as much as possible, and the builder, which is more important because they're the ones who really built the car.
Huh. Do you? I'm sure. I'm sure you encountered in your many shows that you've judged. Has an owner ever like gotten upset with the judges? Like, my car is better than the best of show, or that's not the best Japanese car. My car is the best Japanese car. You ever encounter any of these?
Yeah, actually, that rarely happens, but it does actually. But that's why when we judge like every class, we really make sure that there's a reason why he came in second or why he didn't win. Because it normally happens after once Sophie has announced the winner. So we patiently wait in the judges' room for any complaints. But in most cases, we explain to them hard facts, as in really things out, really list them down. This is why. So in most cases, naman they understand. They don't really take it well, but they do understand because we really explain it thoroughly why. Why?
Can you give me an example? No names. But
all right. So, for example, there was this off-road.
Okay.
This is where most of the complaints happen. Like off-road.
Off-road is where most of the complaints, like the truck show aspect, or
yeah, actually the off-road.
Really?
Yeah. Some also the cars, but so off-road because they're more competitively with the classes there.
Okay.
So his complaint was why he didn't win. Well, the judges explained that why he didn't win was because of functionality. He put in large tires and a lift.
Okay.
And the main reason why he came in like second or third was based on functionality, wherein the judges required him to make full turns left and right.
Okay.
The correct way, if it was done correctly, there would be no rubbing issues, right?
Yes.
But there were rubbing issues. It couldn't
on the fender or on the chassis.
On the chassis, it couldn't do a complete full turn.
Ooh.
So it doesn't take a judge to figure out that that's wrong, right? So it was based on that demerit. Was why he placed
tires were too big and then offset was too out.
Yeah, exactly.
So
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So that alone, I mean, it's pretty understandable, right?
There's your tip, guys. If you want your 4x5, I mean 4x4 is all about function. If you want it to win, make sure you avoid these, minor functionality issues. Like, I'm sure may mga 4x4 ka na judge na like the step is too high, you can barely get in.
Yeah.
That's an issue as well.
Not so much. It's functionality. It really has to function because these are the off-road judges really know their stuff. So you can't question them. So they know what they're doing also.
Yeah.
So it has to be functional. Not just looks na lift lang and everything.
Yeah.
It has to turn, corner,
This is actually something we see also in some of the other racing series like the GR Cup, the judges there. Madalas syempre, it's the same thing with car shows or truck shows. It's a matter of pride, right? Everyone's like, I put my heart and soul, my entire life savings into this vehicle. Whatever the judges say, it's got to win. And the same thing with racing, right?
Yeah.
In racing, I'm the, binangga niya ako or nag-spin out siya, or he broke this rule, or he crossed this line. But for the judges, they at the end of each race, you have to absorb all these complaints and the stewards in particular. Shout out to the stewards of the ones who do that, Vios racing series, because they absorb a lot of. And for them to complain there, you have to pay a bit of a bond. So you have to make sure that your complaint is valid.
Yes, valid. Yeah.
So to do that.
Yeah.
Sa inyo, wala namang ganun.
Wala namang. Another complaint we get is when it comes to punctuality.
Oh.
Okay. Let's say that the car show begins on Thursday and ends on Sunday normally.
Okay.
There are entries that enter their cars like on a Friday or on a Saturday and they expect to win. Which is very unfair for those who prepared, diba?
Yeah.
So there are some that were like that.
All right, sige.
Even though they're built right, they cannot possibly win first place because it's unfair to those who prepared and was there from the Thursday to Sunday. So there have been cases like that. I mean, their cars are well built, but it's just that their punctuality is kind of off.
Okay, so in your experience, I'm sure you've seen a lot of unusual, tricks or shortcuts. What are some of like the most memorable ones that you can think of? With a show car, I'm sure we all have. I know a few of the tricks, but I want to hear what Francis has to say first.
Well, for me personally, pet peeve ko talaga yung yung bolts that are painted over. Supposedly you're supposed to remove that particular part and then spray over the body.
Okay.
But there are some who chose not to remove that particular part and then spray on everything. So the bolts are also body color. So that's one of my pet peeves also. And here's another thing. The batteries.
Battery tray.
No, the battery itself.
Okay.
There are two terminal posts, right?
Yes.
And then you have the battery bracket, right?
Yes.
It may not be a big deal for some, but for us it's a big deal. Like for example, there was this one entry, the battery bracket, wherein this bolt was sparkling brand new, and the other bolt was so dumi.
Okay.
So it's those little things that count, really.
It's really a detail-oriented business.
Because it has to be your best effort. So I mean, just think about it. Just how much that small bolt is to buy from the auto supply, and then just matching all those things. It's a small thing, but it can really destroy their presentation.
If you actually, I know in the last transport show, a transport show. Yeah. So I remember just standing there by a car, and I can see all the judges. So it would be you, and then I think George George Apasible, Pepon Marave. Sometimes even we have our friend. Shout out to our friend Komar Johari over in. He's in Thailand again now. He's an international judge who is also invited. But I see you guys always walking around with all these papers, and then you're really pouring over I think that's a deliberation process na kayo.
Yeah, that's deliberating.
Okay. You're parang so what happens is they end up splitting hairs na eh.
Yeah.
Let's say you have two cars that two or three cars na, let's say, evenly impressive. Like pantayan talaga in terms of like the effort and all that. And then it's gonna be little details like that.
Yeah.
That can make one better than the other.
Yes.
In your eyes, even a little bold.
Yeah. Actually, that's a misconception. Like, first, for those who are not really into it, they might think that we're bashing the car or finding faults, but we're actually doing that so that when the time comes when the second place or third place complains, we have valid reasons why you're third and this one came second and this one came first.
Okay.
That's why we really have to do our jobs. We're not bashing or looking for faults, but we really have to do that because we have to justify why you came in second, why you came in third, why this one first place. That's the reason. It's not really, part of it's looking for faults, but a huge part of it is really we have to justify our rankings, why they won first place.
So those in those situations, you've already made up your mind.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure out who's first, who's second, who's third.
Okay.
So aside from cleanliness, who did the most work, who was more presentable. So in most cases, we keep coming back to these entries, keep coming back, and then going back to the deliberating room and, arguing with each other until we agree, hey, this one is first, this one is second, this one is third, and so on.
Oh.
So we're not bashing the cars or looking for fault, but we have to do that.
Actually, okay. I mean, some of the you're right. Like, you see these little details, and then it stands out to you. To many to casual people just walking around the show, it's some of these things are like non-issues. No ngayon kung magkaiba yan. It still works the same. But to a show judge, it really matters. And some of the tricks that I remember seeing, paano ba? When I put my daily driven car after, like, the Resto mod into just to display, not to compete at the Auto Salon in like 2014. It's a long time ago now. I remember like the stress and all that, but I can see the guy who he's done this thing before. Takes out a little Q-Tix nail polish, clear nail polish. It's like, ano yan? But dala mo yan? He said, oh yeah, para sa mga tornilyo to, pare. Para sa mga like, para yung mga hindi makintab, tabiasan. I go, but apparently that's a thing. Like, another thing is like the spray like say WD-40 or VS protectant, that VS1 armor
to
oil.
hide imperfections.
Yeah, so you use those on the flat black pieces. Like these are like little
and to the interior as well.
To the interior as well, and then you can tell it when you hold. It's not really it looks good, but when you go inside, there's a smell. There's a smell, and then you touch it. It's like, I wouldn't really do that to the interior of my car, but it is what it is.
Yes.
Now, to close it off, I'm sure like some of you guys also want to try your hand at, let's say you have a new car or you have an old car you want to restore, and then you've gone through all the restoration modification process and preparing it for a show. Francis, can you give us three main things that judges look for in any car that's entered into the competition?
Well, the three things that not just me but my fellow judges look for are the presentation, build quality, and cleanliness, I guess.
Okay.
That really matters a lot.
So the presentation, let's start with the presentation.
Presentation is a very important thing because, I mean, unlike car shows in the States where you just roll in and park, it's a lot different here in the Philippines because in most cases it's putting your best foot forward.
Yes. And
then again, how can you show to the people your best foot forward if the car is just parked there? So a lot of effort should be made on how to present the vehicle, like not just beyond opening the hood, but tilting the car, putting mirrors underneath, putting some lights.
Yeah.
So, and not just the car itself, but it would help if you had like a platform where you put the car. So it's really pleasing, not just for the judges, but for the spectators as well. Keep in mind, they paid an entrance fee
Yes.
to see
Pumila
nice
yan.
cars, di ba? Tapos makikita ko, nakapark lang yung car, di ba? So it matters a lot. It also does wonders for the shop itself. Because keep in mind that the car serves as a calling card for the shop owners.
Yes.
So kung poor yung presentation mo, what does it tell you about the shop? Bara-bara lang magtrabaho, yan. But if it's well presented, it shows professionalism and the amount of work na showcase, di ba? So presentation means a lot. Not just putting the opening the wood. Yeah, exactly.
So you have to be like your hair has to be okay. Ewan ko lang yun sa akin, okay. You have to have your watch, you have to have all these things to make sure you're presentable.
Yeah.
Right? Now, I know you mentioned this earlier, back in the presentation front. How do you feel as a judge about seeing trophies from past car shows at this car one at or even all these things?
Yeah, not just car trophies, but those borlolos they put sa gilid ng auto inside the car.
Like what?
Memorabilia, brochures, and stuff.
Okay.
Keep in mind that the car is judged based on the car itself, not on the amount of trophies you've won or the amount of borlolo that you have inside. It's the car. So when I see those things, I tell the car owner to remove those things, because how can you see the upholstery if it's puro borlolo inside, diba?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if how many trophies as well. It still doesn't matter.
Do you find that it's like it's weird to show these trophies to the
Yeah,
judges?
exactly. Because whether na pala yung car, why are you still showing it? Diba?
That's true.
I mean, and the car is judged on the car, not on the amount of trophies it has. So it has no bearing really.
Sorry guys.
If it's anything, it makes it difficult to look at the car, to inspect.
Okay.
Imagine having to bend over, diba? Tapos there's just trophies in front.
And syempre sa age natin, medyo
Exactly.
yung lower back natin, hindi na ganun no? But okay, sige. So now you mentioned presentation. Cleanliness was also
yes, that's very, very important, because up to now there's still a lot of cars that lack detailing, because as judges we look for cleanliness in things where you wouldn't normally expect, like the inside edges of the fender.
Yes.
Like our lead judge Dilo Escalon, it's the first thing he looks for. The inside of the fender, if there are wax residues from buffing and stuff. That's the first thing he looks. And then the weather stripping.
Yeah.
If there are wax residues there, or the inner panels haven't been buffed. Because as a rule, before you put in the windows, the amount of shine and keenness of the body should extend into those things.
Okay.
What happens normally is they start buffing the car after they put in the window panels.
Okay.
But I guess the correct way to do is to really buff everything before even attaching those windows, so that the level of shine and the lapat of pintura is the same inside and outside of the body.
By the way, guys, we're talking here about a different level, like the highest, because the highest level of aftermarket car shows here is Transport Show, the longest one, and Manila Auto Salon. Those are the two highest ones. So we're talking about like cleanliness extreme. Like you have to, everyone is spending millions and millions of pesos into their cars. And the expectation is that this car has got to be perfect. I know we mentioned the screws.
Yeah.
Like for example, if you detail let's say if you detail the engine bay, right? Let's say when you wipe the firewall, ganyan, the bulkhead, normally hindi mo na maaabot yung mga under, like let's say a hose in a pipe in the grommet. Hindi mo na maaabot yung little part here. You have to reach it. It's that kind of, we're talking about this kind of detail. And that's the kind of thing that Francis is really good at. His eyes spotting things like, ako, what? That's wrong? Oh my God. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So cleanliness really matters inside and out.
Yeah.
What else do they have to look for? What are some of the common cleanliness things that they miss?
The door jambs, the inner.
Okay.
Most of the time they forget to buff that. So when you feel it, the inside of the doors as well.
Bang.
Yeah.
Compared to the outside.
Yes. So just imagine just opening the door and this one's super keenness and then this one is, ang gaspa. So
remember that, guys.
Not I mean, it doesn't take a judge,
Yeah.
to figure that one out, diba? Especially when you open the trunk, the inner
Yeah.
there. That's also a lot of
Oh.
entries also fail to do that. Buff the inner sides,
Yeah, we're talking about
the channels,
yeah. Best of show levels already. Like, gantong level of detail.
Yeah, because you have to present the car your best bet forward.
Yeah.
So every aspect, not just the paint, but the interior, the engine bay, the under chassis, every nut and bolt should be really,
Hindi pwedeng hilamos level lang yan. Kailangan.
it cannot. It cannot.
And then, what was your third one?
What was the third
Build
one?
quality?
Build quality, I guess.
So
Yeah.
can you elaborate on that?
Build quality, it doesn't have to be like, full of aftermarket parts. And then it has to be well put together. I mean, there are shops that excel in this field, wherein it's their outcome is much cleaner than the way it came from the factory. Actually, call it over restored or overbuilt, but that's the level of their expertise, and it shows. So there, but also it's also important to note about the time period, not just build quality, because it's also related to the build quality, because you can't put a mismatch of parts there, and the time period is kind of conflicting.
Okay.
So you have to first and foremost have a plan. What do you want to do with the car? Is it a race car, a resto mode, restored? Yeah, it has to be defined from the start, so that anything you do will be cohesive to that plan. Like, you can't build a rally car and a drag car at the same time.
Yeah.
Or you can't have a resto mode and make it look stock. 'Cause as judges, we also find it difficult to put it in a class if it's a real resto mode or a restored car. So you have to really do your homework and plan your build.
Pick one.
Yeah. And from there, the build quality will follow, because you have a plan already. So there.
Mahirap pala to. I mean, clearly, guys, you can imagine already that when these guys judge, they're used to judging multi-million peso like show entries, and of course, there's a lot of pride, a lot of a lot of effort, a lot of money into that kind of build. And really, if there's anything you picked up here, it's every detail counts. If you're looking to enter at Auto Salon or Transport Show, it really is. There is no space. There is no space for mediocrity.
No, because you have to consider your competition, who might be doing better, who maybe built a better car than you. So you really have to come prepared.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, thank you, Francis, for joining.
Thank you.
We're gonna go back to the office, guys. If you have any comments, questions about car shows, judging here in the Philippines, chime in down below. We'll try to answer as much of them as we can. And of course, don't forget to support our membership, our YouTube membership. Log on to our website, AutoIndustriya.com. Subscribe to this channel if you want to hear more of this. We're going to do more like topics on car photography, international auto shows, all kinds of things under the sun about cars, even issues, if depending on what we need to tackle. And this is the first of many, and hopefully you'll watch the rest as they come along here on AutoIndustriya.com for drive-thru.